The 2017 NBA offseason is shaping up to be one of the most epic offseasons in recent memory. The Boston Celtics, the number one team in the Eastern Conference playoffs, have the number one pick. And the question is, are they going to try to build for the future and keep that draft pick? Or are they going to try next season in 2018 to take down the king and reclaim the Eastern Conference crown? Our goal and our mission is to accurately try to realistically predict what the Celtics could do this offseason and the moves they could make this offseason to compete in the future. And for this simulation, I turned off the rookie contract trade signing because I'm going to draft the player I think that they could potentially draft. Of course, it could be Markelle Fultz, the point guard from Washington, but we may end up trading him and he may end up being a part of the deal that Boston could make to bring in a superstar to pair with Isaiah Thomas. With the number one pick in the 2017 NBA draft, the Boston Celtics are more than likely going to select the consensus number one pick overall, Markelle Fultz. And he can get his own shot. He can create and make his own shot. And pairing him with Isaiah Thomas, that's going to create a dynamic backcourt. As you can see, Markelle Fultz is out of Washington. He is 6'4", 180 pounds, and he is a Boston Celtic for now. Marcus Smart is more than likely, for sure, guaranteed gonna be in business with the Celtics next year because he's only 23 years old and he can re-up next season for an even bigger contract, especially after hitting 7 threes in Game 3 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tyler Zeller, he's more than likely going to be let go. Jordan Mickey, he's a young player that we can keep. And Terry Rozier, he's another player that we can keep, which would give us a loaded backcourt, but we could also trade Terry later on. So those are the three players that I expect Boston to keep, and Zeller, Young, they're more than likely going to be let go. Everyone knows, and their mother knows, that Kevin Durant and Steph Curry are probably going to re-up with the Golden State Warriors. If they win that championship, KD's first. There's no way in the world they're going to break up that dynasty. Rumor has it that Chris Paul could be forming his own super team in the West with the Spurs and joining Kawhi Leonard. But here's the Butler connection. Brad Stevens and Gordon Hayward. Rumor has it that the Celtics are going to go all out for Gordon Hayward this offseason. And he is probably going to be their number one target. Maybe even Blake Griffin. They're going and shooting for the stars. So we're going to target Gordon Hayward. We're going to offer Gordon Hayward the most amount of money that we can. He's going to be a Celtic no matter what. By letting Kelly Olynyk go, the Celtics are in need of another front court player. And the options here are Serge Ibaka and Blake Griffin. Personally, because they have Al Horford and an offensive threat, I think they want to go with Serge Ibaka. He may cost a little bit of money, but it could give them the rim protection that they need. In order to compete with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Boston's going to have to make a major move for a wing player. And the options here are Jimmy Butler or Paul George. Jimmy Butler wants to stay in Chicago, but if we offer them enough, if the Celtics offer Chicago enough, maybe they'll be willing to part with their superstar. The problem with picking up Paul George is he wants to be a Laker, and there's no way Boston wants someone to leave them just to go with their rivals across the coast. So in order to get Jimmy Butler on this team, you're probably going to have to give up first round picks, Avery Bradley, a second round pick. We're gonna have to give up the woodshed to get Jimmy Butler. Admittedly, this is the Boston dream scenario. To have Isaiah Thomas at the 1, to have Jimmy Butler at the 2, Gordon Hayward at the 3, and to be able to maintain some of their bench players that they had earlier, like Marcus Smart, like Jaylen Brown. This youthful, young talent, it's still a young roster that can compete with the kings of the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers. But in order to see if that would happen, let's simulate this 2017-2018 season. Admittedly, this team probably won't be able to get Jimmy Butler, but they will at least have a shot at getting Gordon Hayward. The main contention here is whether Boston builds for the future, a future in which King James has retired, or whether or not they try to compete with him next year, coming off a 53-win season. But it doesn't look, based on my team right now, based on this Boston simulation, that they're going to do well in this scenario. The final month of the NBA season is here. We only have a few more games left, and it looks like we're going to finish with the 5th seed. Russell Westbrook won. Lonzo Ball gets Rookie of the Year. Russell's the MVP. Greg Monroe is the 6th Man of the Year. Andre Drummond is the Kia Defensive Player of the Year. Dante Exum is the Kia Most Improved Player. But all that matters for this team, because they had that selling out for next season approach, is just to make it past the King. So let's simulate the rest of this season, get through the playoffs, simulate the current round. We won 2, we won 3, we won 4, and we advance to the next round to take on the Brooklyn Nets, who somehow made the playoffs, even though more than likely they're the worst team in the league next season again. But they took us to 7 games and the Cavs were eliminated, so we're taking on the Miami Heat. Hassan Whiteside, Dion Waiters, Winslow. Simulate the current round. Will we make the finals? And yes, we will, against the Houston Rockets. What happened there? A sweep of the Golden State Warriors. So if we win this playoff series, Boston could be crowned the NBA champions, especially after the moves that we made. And it wasn't enough. The NBA Finals champion is the Houston Rockets, but of course, that's maybe just because of some 2K cheese. Let's actually look at that Houston Rockets roster real fast before we close this episode out. Harden's still there. It doesn't look like they could have competed with us in real life. There's no way Harden is going to lead his team past Jimmy Butler, Isaiah Thomas, and Gordon Hayward. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Boston Dream scenario. If you liked the video, leave a like down below. I appreciate it. I love it. I want some more of it. And I'll catch you next time on the next video. Stay frosty, and I love you.